Hey there, I'm Celine and welcome back to my channel. This video is my monthly wrap-up and media log and haul for the month of July. This month felt long, but that's probably because I'm anticipating a lot that is going to happen in August. So this month has felt long, like it's been dragging, but now I'm here, it's the last day of the month, and I can't believe it's gonna be August. August is exciting, but also very nerve-wracking, and just like a lot is gonna be happening for me. So at the beginning of this month, I didn't really get to read a lot, kind of carrying over from May and June when I have had this big project that I have been prepping for. I have a craft market that I'm going to be participating in, and so I've been preparing a lot of my crocheted work for that. But in the second week of July, I finished everything that I had set out to make. So I finally got to get back into reading, which was so nice. I thought that maybe I was going to be in a reading slump after all of this prep. You know what? My hair is getting on my last nerves in this ponytail. Really getting down. So I thought I was going to be in a reading slump. But thank goodness that didn't happen. And I got back into reading, and I read a lot this month, actually, for only like reading from the halfway point in this month to now. I finished my last book like for the month last night on July 30th. So I did start a new book, but I'm not going to finish that until later on in August. Anyhow, I think I will start out with, let's start out with a haul. I said in my mind that I didn't do too bad this month, but then here at the tail end, I purchased a box set. But anyhow, I'm gonna save the best for last, and it technically is the last thing that I got this month, so I'll go ahead and leave that. First off, at the beginning of July, one of my most anticipated reads for the entire year came out. July 2nd was Reckless Day, and so of course I went out and got this. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive. I'm trying to decide if I get the like original cover with the red flower petals on it, just because I think I like that one better. I mean, nothing against this, but I don't know. But then I'm also thinking I might wait to see if I get the like super fancy sprayed edges, like make the investment into getting the series that way as well. But anyhow, picked up Reckless, and along with Reckless, I picked up another continuation of a series, Ruthless Vows. I'm surprised that I still haven't read this. I don't know, I think after I read Reckless, okay, spoiler alert, I read that this month, obviously. I was just, this is a very immersive world, okay? But so is this series, which is, the first book is called The Divine Rivals. I'm not sure what this series is called. It's a duology. So this is the second and last book, but I still haven't read it. I don't know why. I guess I just haven't been in the mood for this, and I feel like maybe I might want to reread Divine Rivals, but we'll see. But I did pick up Ruthless Vows on the same day that I picked up Reckless. Next, and the last physical book that I got, hint hint, I got Powerful, and this was something that I should have gotten earlier, but I didn't really care too much to read this, but I was like, you know what, it goes along with the Powerless story, so I'm gonna pick it up. This is a novella that follows Adina, and not to say that I didn't care about Adina, but having a whole story revolve around her, I was like not in a rush to pick it up or read it. But that is the last thing I picked up. I did get this off of Amazon in an order, so it kind of got messed up, which bugs me because I don't mess up my books. I like to keep them as perfect as possible, but it got messed up, sadly. But that, oh no, that's not it for the physical books. Oh my. Okay, I'm gonna show you the next thing and then I will explain my last purchase. This next thing, no, you know what? Maybe I'll tell the next physical books that I got. I got the box set of the Naturals series. It hasn't come yet. I ordered it like a bit ago and I expected that it would be here by like yesterday, and it's not. Don't know what that's about, but I did pick up that series because I read the first book on Kindle Unlimited. And you might be like, Celine, you don't have a Kindle. What are you talking about? You read it on Kindle Unlimited. Well, now I do, okay? I have a whole video coming out dedicated to my baby here, okay? But this was actually a gift this month. So I did not purchase this. I did purchase the Kindle Unlimited subscription, which unlocked my access to a bunch of books, one of them being the Natural series. I've been wanting to try reading that, but I just never really picked it up. And so I saw it on Kindle Unlimited, and that was actually my first book that I read on the Kindle, and I finished that book in a day. I'll go more into detail in the wrap-up portion, but this kind of goes into why I got the box set of the Natural series, because I read the first book and I stupidly assumed that they have the rest of the books on Kindle Unlimited, but they don't. And I was gonna go ahead and just buy the rest of the books digitally, because why I wanted a Kindle in the first place, kind of quickly, is because I hoped that it would save me money so that I could try books on here, because ebooks are a little bit cheaper than buying physical books, and with Kindle Unlimited you can try a whole bunch of books for a $11 subscription a month, and for me, I read 3 to 5 books a month, and so it's definitely going to save me money. But they didn't have the rest of the books on Kindle Unlimited, so I would have had to buy them, and that would have been around $25. And so I just went ahead and checked what the physical books would cost, and the boxed set was around $35. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna grab the box set because I feel like I will really like this series as a whole. So anyhow, this is the last thing that has come into my possession this month. Again, I have a whole video that I'm currently in the process of filming dedicated to this, so I have finally become a Kindle girl. You know, spoiler alert, I love this thing so much. I've, you know, just been with it for a few days and I love it so incredibly much already. But now that's officially everything that is in this haul portion. So now for the media log, starting off with music. This month has honestly been the month of instrumental music because I discovered, goodness, what is his name now that I need to say it? It's slipping my mind. I'm pretty sure it's Joel Sumi, I think. He posts like all of these shorts, and I'm not on TikTok, but I guess he does TikTok too, and like reels and things, like music for readers. And he has released music of his own. His song Luminary is what I was like introduced to him with, and that song has basically been on repeat, so I'm not going to be surprised if Luminary or something by him will be my top listened to song of the year, because I literally had Luminary on a loop for like a solid week, probably more. But also along with that, I love, under his kind of like profile on Apple Music, there's also dramatic violin, and in there you find more of his like music instrumental covers, and he likes to cover Lana Del Rey. Okay, and we know that I love Lana Del Rey. Okay, not as a person and her beliefs and ideals, and that's what makes it hard for me, is that I love her style of music. It's just, it feels very like, it feels vintage in a way. Like, she gives off a very, like, in her look, she looks very like the dark feminine and like elegant, dark featured, old money beauty, and her, I feel like that's reflected in her music style as well. And I love her music style so much, but I can't deny that there's something about her music that just, with the words in conjunction, make me just, I don't know how to describe it, but it just affects my mental well-being. And you know, so it's difficult because I love her music, but I don't want to, like, the lyrics aren't the best. Some, like, my favorite songs are not like bad, like they don't have, I don't like to listen to like swear words or anything like that, so they're not necessarily bad, but there's something about her music that just, there's something off. I really like the style, but it does something with my mind, and I don't know what it is. Does something not positive. So anyway, he has a couple of covers of Lana Del Rey songs, and I really like the background of music. You know, I think she also writes beautiful words in her music, but I really like the sound of the background music and everything. I think that's why I love her music so much, is I think they're very like beautifully arranged. Anyways, he has a cover of Young and Beautiful and Salvatore. Those two songs are like, I love those two songs so incredibly much. So those three songs, Luminary and the instrumental for Young and Beautiful and Salvatore, amazing. Those three have been basically on shuffle all month. I didn't really listen to anything else other than that. I haven't been really keeping up with my new music playlist lately because I've been so satisfied with that. But anyway, that's it for the music. For what I watched, I did watch a movie this month. I watched Damsel on Netflix. This is the one starring Millie Bobby Brown, and I guess that this is based off of a book, which I did not read. I realized that after I watched the movie. I don't know, maybe I'll read the book, but I didn't. I liked the movie, but I just thought it was okay. Like I gave it a 3-star, but I don't know. I enjoyed my time watching it, but like I wouldn't rewatch it. Like, it's not something I feel like I would want to rewatch or anything. So I'm not even sure that I'll pick up the book and read it unless it's like on Kindle Unlimited. Then maybe I'll read it, but I don't know. It was good. It was okay. Acting was okay. I think that's what brought down the enjoyment level for me at times, was that the acting felt a little amateur-ish at times. I'm sorry, it did. But that's everything that I watched. Now for what I read. This is always my favorite part. I love talking about what I read. Anyway, starting off with what I read in my Bible this month. I didn't really stick to a plan. I started a couple of different plans on the Bible app, but I just never stuck with any of them, and I just ended up shuffling through the Gospels. So I don't think I finished like any one specific book. I was just kind of like, one day I would read from Mark, one day I would read from John, Luke, you know. So that's really what I read, but I think actually that's what I'm going to do this afternoon is I'm going to figure out and actually plan something to read for August and just like be more intentional about it and not just like aimlessly read. I feel like I digest my Bible reading so much better if I kind of like plan ahead of time, like what I'm going to dedicate my focus to, like what book I'm going to read and really like dissect it. Whereas if I'm just kind of jumping around, I'm like, okay, it just becomes just reading for me. But still getting in the Bible every day is important no matter how, you know, planned it was for you. So that's what I read in my Bible this month. Starting, I guess we'll start with the manga that I read this month. I only read 2 volumes, and those 2 volumes being one of my favorites. Okay, I love this series so much. Okay, this is A Sign of Affection, volumes 4 and 5. I had these in my collection probably since May, and I just held off reading them because I kind of got some random volumes. Like I have volumes 1 through 5, and then I don't have 6 and I have 7, and so I was just gonna wait until I got volume 6 and then just do kind of like a stretch of reading with this series. But I decided I really wanted to read them, so I went ahead and read these in an afternoon. This story, oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's so cute. I'm not gonna gush about it again because I feel like I do basically every single month. But if you haven't read this and you like cute romance and just college, this is set in like around college aged kids, college kids, I guess we could call that. I'm a college aged kid myself, but anyways, I love this so much. I highly recommend this one. So far, this is under the like josei category, so this is rated like older teen, but there's not been anything, you know, further than, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear anything, I guess you can assume this, they kiss, okay? That has happened once, maybe twice. So this is very just like sweet romance, like sickly sweet, giggle your pants off, sweet. I love this one so much, highly recommend. First book that I actually read after getting back into reading, after I could finally get back to reading, was Reckless. I wasted no time and started reading this immediately. You can see all the tabs there. I do have a reading vlog for this, so if you're interested to see like more in-depth and like kind of reactions along the way, definitely check that out. But this, what did I rate this? Okay, I remember now. I gave this a 4 stars on Goodreads, but the actual rating that it gave it was a 4.5. Goodreads, please do something to where we can do half ratings, because that would just, you know, people might see my ratings on there and they're like, what, 4 stars or like 3 stars? And really, I mean like 3.5, but not quite 4, so I'm not gonna mark it as a 4, I'm gonna mark it as a 3. Please change that. Please, we're all begging for it. I don't know why it hasn't been done already, but anyway, I gave this 4.5. Really good. I didn't really have any issues with it. Just not quite a 5 star. Powerless was like 10 out of 5 stars. Okay, this was like, it was 4.5. It was really like amazing banter, amazing as always. I love Lauren Roberts so much. I'm glad that we have kind of like a, you know, a month and year picked out for the next book so that I have something to look forward to. So I think around March I'm going to reread Powerless and this, and then once April comes around, the last book in the trilogy will come out. I'm so excited. Next, I actually read Powerful after Reckless because it had just like registered to me after I read Reckless that I didn't have this, and that, oh, maybe I should pick it up and read it. Like I said, this is a novella following the character Adina. I did kind of get a few tabs in this one too. I wasn't expecting to like this one. Like, I was expecting to think it was good, but okay, like, but this, oh, okay, I rated this 4 stars. So not quite 4.5, you know what? 4.5. No, you know what? I rated this a 4-star because I really enjoyed this. But when I think of my 4.5 rating of Reckless, I didn't enjoy this as much as I enjoyed Reckless. But I enjoyed it quite a lot. I was surprised. This had the same banter and like romance and just kind of push and pull romance in here, and it was really good. It was kind of fun to see what was going on with Adina in the background when Peyton was at the trials, and so this really good. I'm not usually a fan of like novellas or side stories. I just feel like they tend to be rushed and they just don't feel like as well put together as, you know, the full-on books. But this was a really good side story, so I was pleasantly surprised. And after that, I finally read my first Danielle Steele book. I think last month I showed you I had a whole stack. This stack right here is all Danielle Steele. Is it? No, this top one isn't, but the rest of them are. So I decided, you know what, let me pick one of them up. Let me see which one sounds interesting. This is a large print edition of Jewels, and this book had me a whole mess. I was not expecting to feel so much about a book, and I guess I went into this underestimating Danielle Steele just because Danielle Steele is an author that my late grandmother used to read, like in the 90s, yeah, 80s, 90s. And so I was expecting this to maybe feel a little bit like cringy and old school, but I like old school. This is set in the, primarily like in the 40s, 50s, but we really kind of like we're at the beginning. We get a glimpse into the main character. We see a little bit of her like childhood in the 1920s. And then towards the end of this book, we're like in the 60s and 80s. So it really spans a long time, but a good chunk of this book is set during World War II, which we know that is like my favorite time to read about nonfiction and fiction as well. I love historical fiction set in World War II. That's probably my favorite genre and subgenre to read. But anyways, this is about Sarah and just her entire life, basically. Kind of, I guess, to give you, I suppose this isn't a spoiler, but because it's in the kind of blurb about the book, Sarah had gotten married in her early 20s to Freddie, who she had known for a good time at that point in her life, and so they decided to get married. But as soon as they got married, Freddie just became super distant, and he was just partying with his friends, drinking, cheating, and it just, a lot happens. I'm not going to go too much in depth because if you decide to read this, which I really highly recommend that you do, it was such an amazing book. She divorces, she gets remarried, which usually when stories have something like revolving around divorce, I'm wary of reading it just because I don't want divorce to be like normalized, and I don't like seeing that in media. But I think that it was really, I feel like it's tricky saying this. It was tastefully done, to where it's gonna be a spoiler, okay? But just, it was tastefully done. I don't like reading about divorce. It just, yeah, anyhow. Danielle Steele, Jules, amazing story, like coming of age, coming into womanhood, coming out of depression, was just absolutely amazing. The romance in here, okay, the guy, William is a new standard for me, okay? I read this and I was just like giddy, like seeing their relationship come to happen, and just times were so different, okay? Guys were gentlemen, men were men, and they held the door, and they were chivalrous, and they, you know, were straightforward with their feelings. And just William, okay? Read this book, if nothing else, for William, because he's amazing. He is like the book husband, not just book boyfriend, okay? Book husband. Like, if he were real, I'd be praying for things to happen with William, okay? He was absolutely amazing. And while the characters in here aren't Christian, you know, and they don't necessarily follow, like, they're not religious, I feel like that in the times that were back then, there were different set of morals, and so this was for the most part clean. If you can see, there are 2 dark blue tabs, and that, you know, indicates when there was a spicy scene. But even then, like, it was easy to skip over because it was like a paragraph long, to where it was like, okay, we're stopping reading there, I'm not going any further, we're skipping. It was just like 2 instances. But you know, husband comes back from war after he was presumably dead, you know. Okay, anyways, Jules, what did I give this? Did I say what I gave this? Let me check. I gave this a 5-star. How did I not remember that? 5 stars, literally no issues with it. This book made me like so incredibly giddy and happy. The romance in here was S tier, perfect, okay? Just a couple of, you know, parts where it got a little bit too steamy for me, but I'm not really gonna like knock it too much for that. And I sobbed like 10 times with this book. It gets very sad and heavy. We're dealing with a war, of course it's going to be that way. Anyways, I feel like I've talked about this book for so long, but I feel like nobody really reads authors like this anymore. But at least this is my first Danielle Steele book that I have read, and I absolutely loved it, and I highly recommend this one. We're coming to the end here. My last 2 books that I read were on my new Kindle here. So I did kind of mention earlier that I read, The Naturals, the first book, and I read that in a day, okay? I binged that like straight through, basically. I read chapter 1 the first like night that I had this. I had only like a little bit before bed that I had a chance to read. So I read chapter 1 that one night, and then I woke up the next day and I read the book straight through, nonstop. So The Naturals, did I give it a rating? I don't think I updated my Goodreads yet. Let's see. The Naturals, I went into it kind of blind. So I started reading it and gathered what it was about, and I was like, this is like a crime murder mystery. Why haven't I read this before? And so let's see, rating, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. It was almost, it's not quite a 5-star, and it's not quite I could almost give it a 4.75. It was really, really good and I really enjoyed it. The thing that kind of knocks it down, but also the thing that makes me like it, okay, is like the kind of love triangle that goes on there between Michael, what is the girl's name? Oh my gosh, my memory is like failing me. Dean and what is the girl's name? Cassie. There we go, Cassandra. That love triangle, would never want to be in a love triangle myself, but that love triangle is just like so well done. I love it so much. The thing that kind of brings it down, I love that aspect, but it feels like there's a lot of banter there, but it feels very like lust driven, which with teenagers I guess is understandable, question mark, but it does feel very fast. I like for there to be a little bit more push and pull and like longing. I like a little bit more of that. I just feel like the bringing the feelings into the equation, nobody has explicitly said anything. Yeah, but I mean, there were a couple of kisses in the naturals, and so it's just assumed. But one of them better speak up and say what he truly feels, okay? That's all I'm gonna say, and hopefully that comes in the coming books, but I guess that's what knocks it from being a 5-star, because otherwise, the plot twist, I literally was suspecting everybody except for the person who it actually was. So that was insane. And I had to rewind a little bit because I was like, wait, what? I was so thrown off guard, but it wasn't outlandish to where it was like, that's stupid, I don't believe that. So yeah, the naturals, I really enjoyed that one. And then I don't know why I put this away. I suppose I don't really need it, but I read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is a book that I have been wanting to read for a while, because we know that along with historical fiction and World War II historical fiction, those being my favorites, murder mysteries and just mysteries in general are my next favorite, and they can rival historical fiction at times. And everybody and their mama was saying, you need to read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. That is like the murder mystery, and Agatha Christie is like the queen of mystery in general. It is a classic, so I think that's why I felt a little bit intimidated to read it and why I haven't read it all this time, because I have tried reading classics in the past and the books tend to have smaller print, and I think that is what really like intimidates me and throws me off, and why I feel like I can't read it is because of the small print. But it being on the Kindle, I could adjust the font size, and I found Agatha Christie to be very readable. I really liked her writing. It still felt like a classic. I was like, okay, this is definitely a little bit different, but it digested really well, and I could understand things really well, because sometimes when I read classics, it's like blah blah blah, what did I just read, what did you just say? But her writing was very digestible and understandable for me. And the book itself, as a murder mystery, I'm just gonna come out and say it, that was the best murder mystery that I have ever read, and I've read a lot. It kept me guessing the entire time. I had suspected on who it was, you know, who the villain, I guess you could say, was, but it wasn't a top suspect in my mind. I had a top 3 on who this killer was, but who actually it ended up being was not in my top 3. I kind of disregarded that character. I don't want to spoil it for people, because this truly, I'm gonna have my mom read this, like she has to read this. Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so good. It literally, I was actually surprised on how like kind of actually scary it was. At times there would be like, when I would like be looking around like, am I truly alone in this house? Like, is there somebody watching me? Because it felt so real. She's so descriptive, and you feel the fear and the like hysteria that all of these people in this house are starting to feel because of the murders happening according to this one nursery rhyme. I highly recommend. I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to spoil things, and like, you really just need to go into this and just like read it all the way through. I don't see how people could read it, stop, read it over like several days. Like, I read the prologue. Was there a prologue? I think there was like the nursery rhyme that this book is kind of like revolving around. I read that the night before, and then the next day I binged the entire book, and it was just so, it was delicious. It was a treat just for me, and I loved it so incredibly much. So if you have been kind of like intimidated to read this book, but you hear everybody talking about it, it was really good, and it was really understandable and digestible for me. I did not think that this video was going to take too long, but I guess I had a lot that I wanted to talk about, so we'll see how long this video ends up being. But anyhow, that's it for the haul. That's it for the media log and everything. So I have a video or two that are supposed to come out before August haul and wrap up, so look forward to those. But anyhow, I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.